All right, we're going to finish this session with the high frequency machine. If you have never used the high frequency machine, it is actually pretty simple to use, but it is going to give you an immediate effect and help with things like acne, anti-aging. You can use it on the face, the body, the scalp. It's really multifaceted, and it has different benefits that we'll talk about when we go through the chapter a little bit. We're currently in chapter 10, skincare treatments. So we've moved from chapter 13. We're now in chapter 10, and we're going over skincare treatments. So demonstrate how to safely and effectively use the high frequency device. The high frequency machine is an apparatus that utilizes an alternating or sinusoidal current, which is a smooth, repetitive, alternating current. It produces a heat effect, and the high frequency oscillation currently passes through a device that allows for the selection of a Tesla pulse current. This current can produce a frequency of 60,000 to 200,000 hertz, depending on how it's regulated. The frequency indicates the repetition of the current per second. So the 60 to 20,000 is the frequency, which is the current per second. So how often it's changing over in a single second. Because high frequency current is capable of changing polarity thousands of times per second, it basically has no polarity, so it's neither negative or positive, and its effect does not produce chemical changes. So if you've already gone through galvanic current, you know that galvanic, the process of ionophoresis, is creating a chemical change, right? It's a chemical process that's taking place. Unlike galvanic, high frequency, because the polarity is oscillating between negative and positive hundreds of thousands of times in each second, there's no way for it to actually produce a chemical change. That means product penetration is physically impossible. With that said, you're going to perform high frequency on clean, dry skin only. High frequency does not uh, assist with product penetration, and it is not going to create a chemical change. Because of that, you are performing high frequency on clean, dry skin only. It does not benefit you to have product on the skin. In fact, having product on the skin removes one of the benefits, which is the creation of ozone to create a germicidal effect. So clean, dry skin only. The rapid oscillation created by the high frequency machine vibrates water molecules already in the skin, and this can produce a mild to strong heat effect. It's important to note that aesthetic high frequency devices have a mild effect. So all aesthetic devices are going to have a mild effect. An example of a stronger heat reaction is thermolysis, which is used for electrolysis, which is permanent hair removal. That's when they take I want to say probe, but it's probably like a needle or a blade, and it's actually put into the skin and heated up to the point where it destroys the hair follicle. So don't get high frequency, the heat effect from high frequency mixed up with the heat effect from thermolysis. Thermolysis is permanent hair removal, and it's actually destroying the follicle in the skin. The high frequency machine creates noise, and the ozone has a distinct smell to it. That ozone is actually what's creating the germicidal effect and sanitizing, sterilizing the skin. Let clients know what to expect when using high frequency machine and that this is normal. So it does smell. You could smell the ozone once you've got the machine going, and you can also, that's how you know that the ozone is being created and it's creating that germicidal effect, which we want. There are several types of electrodes. Some are direct, some are indirect, and they are available with high frequency. Each of these electrodes has unique benefits and features, and they produce specific physiological reactions and aesthetic treatments. If you use the high frequency machine, you will need to be trained in the procedure and how to use the different electrodes. That's what I will show you. During the manufacturing process, most of the air is removed from high frequency electrodes, creating a vacuum in the actual tube. I will show you the tube. The air is replaced with mainly neon gas. However, some electrodes may come with argon gas. Neon gas is going to produce one type of effect, argon gas is going to produce another. As the electricity passes through these gases, they emit visible shades of light, so you do see the light. And neon gas produces a pink or orange or even a red light and is typically used for sensitive skin and aging skin, whereas argon or rarefied gas produces a blue or violet light and is typically used for normal to oily skin and acne prone skin. Sometimes these lights are inaccurately called infrared or ultraviolet because of the colors. However, unlike LED, they have absolutely nothing to do with wavelength and frequency. So, high frequency is not to be confused with infrared or ultraviolet light, even though you will see that pinkish blue, not pinkish, not bluish, that pink or reddish type light, or even the blue or violet type light. You are not creating an infrared or an ultraviolet effect. This is high frequency. In addition to the different forms of the gas, the electrodes come in different shapes and sizes to accommodate the treatment. So, the different shapes and sizes of the electrode actually accommodate different areas of the body and different places in the treatment, right? I'm going to use the comb attachment in the scalp. But if the comb attachment has neon gas, it's going to produce that pink, orange, or reddish light, which is for anti-aging and sensitive skin. Or if it has argon gas or rarefied gas, it's going to create a blue or violet light. The color of the light is going to tell you what gas is present, and that is what's going to tell you the benefit. So the different shape and size of the electrode is essentially of no consequence. It's just ease of use. Perfect. Sorry about that. Types and general application of electrode. There are many types of electrodes and they can be used in a high frequency machine. We'll go to table 10.3 for a breakdown of the various types and their applications. When to use it. The high frequency machine is useful and versatile in your treatment room, and it may be applied after extractions or used over a product, but will not penetrate the product as iontophoresis would. So I would use it on dry skin only. Using it over a product is not benefiting the client. The machine also creates ozone, which has a germicidal action on the skin. If you use it over a product, the ozone that is being created is not going to penetrate and have that germicidal effect. So it's best to use it on clean, dry skin only. These are the different type of electrodes. So there's an electrode reference table. What I would do is screenshot this electrode reference table, and I'm going to put it in our protocol. I would screenshot the electrode reference table because it's going to tell you how to use it and how to place it into the device, but it's also going to tell you what areas each one of them is good for. And then at the bottom of the chart, before I print it or after I print it, I would write onto it the different gases, so argon and neon gas, so that I know this one is this color and it's good for this one is this color and it's good for that. The most used that I see in the treatment room are either the small mushroom, the glass tip for the sparking, the large mushroom. I rarely see the indirect. I don't think I've ever come across an indirect in my career, but it can be used during the massage to stimulate the skin. And then the comb and rake. I actually use the comb and rake not daily anymore, but I used to use it daily in my hair to help stimulate hair growth, and it absolutely does work, especially if used consistently. The effects of high frequency are dependent upon the gas that you're using, but ultimately the effects are antiseptic and healing from the ozone. It's going to stimulate circulation, which is going to help cellular turnover. It's going to oxygenate the skin, so it's going to bring oxygen to the skin and allow the skin to be nourished through the oxygen. It's going to increase cell metabolism, which again helps with cellular turnover. It helps coagulate and heal any open lesion after extractions by sparking it with the mushroom electrode. And it generates a warm feeling that has a relaxing effect on the skin. The contraindications for high frequency are going to be Couperos's skin, inflamed skin, clients with pacemakers, metal implants, and or heart problems, clients with high blood pressure, braces, epilepsy, pregnancy, body piercings from the waist up. You should avoid contact with any metal when using the device. So don't run it across. If the client has a nose ring that they can't take it off, I would avoid the nose altogether, and I definitely wouldn't run over it. If they can take it off, it's best to just remove it. A few guidelines to avoid being burned or shocked. The client should avoid contact with the metal during electrical machine treatment. So don't touch the actual metal part of the machine or the cord. If it's exposed, then you need to toss it and get a new machine. Clients should remove all jewelry and piercings prior to the treatment. So clients and estheticians, because you are going to ground this electrode. As the technician, you should ground the electrode on your finger prior to applying it to the client and prior to removing it from the client. With that said, if you have any of the contraindications, you are also unable to perform high frequency, much like, what's the other one that you can't perform? LED if you can't block the light from yourself, and galvanic if you can't not ground it with the client. The electrode should be continuously moving at all times. This is not going to sit on the skin. The exception to that is if you are sparking, so you can actually hover above an impaction and allow the high frequency device to spark into the skin and dry out that impaction. And then electrode should be gently removed from the handpiece to avoid snapping the electrode. If you break the electrode in the handpiece, unplug it, grab some pliers or needle nose pliers or something that you can grip with like a tweezer and pull out the broken off piece. Like if I have braces, I can perform this service on a client either. Nope, because you've got a metal implant. Technically braces are a metal implant. I'm gonna show you a way around it when we actually set up the device. But yeah, if you are contraindicated to get it, you're contraindicated to give it because you ground it before you start. I'm gonna show you a way around that grounding, but it shouldn't be force of habit. If your contraindication is something that's temporary, let's say you're pregnant, 9 months, you can do it without grounding. You just want to do it very low and you want to make sure that, you're not coming into contact with it. For safety and maintenance of the machine, make sure that you're cleaning the glass electrode by wiping it with soap and water and then EPA. You don't use alcohol on the electrodes and don't immerse the electrodes directly in water. Place the glass in, not the metal, into a disinfectant solution for the recommended time, and then wipe the solution off with a saturated paper towel. I prefer not to spray these. I prefer to use a paper towel with the water or solution on it, and then I go in and wipe it down because I don't want to risk getting any water into the part of the device that would cause it to mess up. So I'm going to show you the device in just a second. Clean the handpiece, cords, and machine with disinfectant, and check the manufacturer for additional service requirements, making sure that you're always using it properly. Unless they are broken or damaged, most electrodes do not need replacing, but keep in mind that the electrodes are very fragile. They are 100% glass, and there is a gas inside of it. So if it breaks or if it is saturated with immersed in water, the gas will not work and you'll have to replace the electrode. So these are for lifer machines unless you break them. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera on and show you how to set up the electrode and then the step-by-step for the electrode, because you need to see how to ground it. I just hit myself in the face. This is one version of the high frequency device. You're going to place the glass electrode into there. The gas is in this silver section. So when I'm cleaning it, I like to hold it like this. As you can see, no water is going to get past my finger. Water on a cotton round or 4x4 or paper towel, clean. Once I'm done with that, EPA on a paper towel or 4x4, clean. Once I'm done with that, and it's saturated for the manufacturer's recommended time, I'm going to rinse it, and then I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to put it away. This cannot go into the sterilizer. It'll explode. It's glass and there's gas in here. So if you put it in the sterilizer, pop goes the weasel, you'll have glass everywhere and it'll be no good. So clean with soap and water, EPA for the 10 minutes, making sure not to get any of that product into the area where the gas is. Dry, rinse them, dry them, put them away. If you take care of these will last you forever. When I mentioned if this breaks in here because it attaches on, it's not loose, it's not going to fall out, so it's actually attaching. If this part breaks off and there's a piece of it in there, just make sure that it's unplugged and you can use tweezers to get it out. When I'm attaching this, I'm going to push it in, make sure it's secure, and then it's ready to go. Once it's plugged in, the way that I'm going to use this is fairly simple. No matter what machine manufacturer you have, the instructions typically are going to be the same. You're going to take the electrode, which is the device here, just twist it into place. Make sure the machine is set to the lowest function, and make sure the machine is then turned off. So the machine's on side of me, it's off, but I checked it, I turned it on, I made sure it was on the lowest function, and then I turned it off. When I'm ready, I'm going to brace it or ground it. I'm going to turn the machine on. I'm going to turn the machine up. I'm going to touch the client's skin. I'm going to remove my grounding so they have the electricity. When I'm done, I'm going to re-ground myself, and now I have the electricity. So let's start from the top. The machine is off. I've checked it to make sure it's in good working order. It's the frequency is all the way down. I'm going to turn the machine, I'm going to ground it. I'm going to turn the machine on. The glass electrode will illuminate with the color that it is, for if it's neon or argon gas. Once I'm ready to work on my client, I'm going to take it to the client's skin. I'm going to remove my grounding so the client now has the electricity. They're getting the high frequency. I'm going to work the area, consistently moving, never stopping in one particular place. 2 to 3 minutes. Once I'm done, I'm going to stop my movement. I'm going to re-ground the device. So now I have it. I'm going to lift off. I'm going to turn it down back to the lowest setting. I'm going to turn the machine off. I'm going to break contact, and I'm done. You can also spark with high frequency. So if you are contraindicated, you can hover above the impaction and allow the high frequency electrode to jump into the client's impaction. You'll actually see like almost like a little lightning bolt. It doesn't hurt. It might shock them when they first start, but it doesn't hurt. I would start on 1, maybe 2. Hover above the impaction. Allow that ozone to be created. You'll see the sparking, you'll see the jumping. Turn the machine off. Turn the machine back down, turn the machine off, and then move away. So if you are contraindicated, sparking is the only safe way that you can use the device. If you are not contraindicated, you're going to ground it, take it to the client, remove yourself. The client has the oscillation, reground, remove from the client, turn it down, turn it off, and you're done. So you can direct, or you can indirect. Hovering right above, I'm talking about maybe half an inch above, and allow that to work. For the high frequency, I don't know why I want to call this galvanic. For the high frequency, you also want to make sure that the client's skin is clean and dry, like I said, because product penetration and ionization is impossible. You want to do this on clean skin. You also can use a 4x4 or a gauze mask, a clean or dry one. Drape it over the client's skin and actually work over top the gauze or 4x4. It will it'll act as a conductor, but it'll also act to glide the electrode over the skin. If you're sparking, the 4x4 or gauze is not necessary. If you're going to work the entire area, work the full face, I would apply that 4x4 dry and clean, or the face mask, the gauze, dry and clean, and then I would place it to the skin and work it in that way. So it's essentially place the electrode in the device, make sure it's in place, adjust the machine so that it's on its lowest setting, make sure the machine is off, place your index finger on the electrode to ground it, turn on the machine, turn the machine up if needed, take the machine to the client's skin, start working it in circular motions, remove your finger that was grounding it, and now the client has the electricity. Work across the gauze or 4x4 until you've reached every area of the face that you wanted to work. 2 to 3 minutes is plenty. From there, you are going to reground yourself to the machine. So you're going to tap the machine, lift it from the client's skin, and then you are going to turn it back down, turn it off, remove the glass electrode from the device, set it off to the side to where it won't get wet, and then clean it as instructed. See if there's any more. No. Nope, that's it for high frequency. Does anybody have any questions about high frequency?